Is Diablo 4 a trash game, or is it a good game? Let's talk about it. First off, the most important part of a game, I think, is the combat. The combat in this game feels very rewarding, the abilities are responsive, the characters are fun to play, the damage numbers are satisfying, and overall I've had just a really fun time playing it. I would like to see more important boss mechanics that require you to dodge, as well as bosses just being more difficult in general. The endgame gameplay loop right now feels a little bit lacking, and Nightmare Dungeons, which is supposed to be the hardest content in the game, doesn't feel very rewarding. I'd like to see increased difficulty through mechanics, and not through pure resistance checks. I'd also like to see a major reduction in the amount of crowd control enemies deal to the player. It doesn't feel rewarding to have little spiders constantly CCing you, or mobs constantly freezing you. I'd like to see a lot more build diversity in the game, where the skill trees fork another time or two. I'd also like to see a lot more uniques and aspects so that there's more synergies to play with. Because skill trees are so linear, you end up with a lot of very similar builds. I feel like the Paragon trees are a little lacking, and I'd like to see more pivotal choices when it comes to what you choose. I want my legendary nodes on the Paragon board to completely change the way my build works, and not just offer a nice bonus. The gameplay loop while leveling was pretty fun. I definitely don't like the idea of having to repeat all of the side quests like it seems they may have us do. When I start a new season, I feel like I should have everything I've earned up to this point outside of the actual character's power. The monetization structure in the game is quite good. There's no pay to win unless you count the early access. And I'd say that overall I got my money's worth. I'm typically not one to pay for a AAA title. This may be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think there's enough grinding in the game. What I mean by that is you can play the game for about a week or two and have nearly best in slot gear and a max level character. Speaking of having best in slot gear, I think that they should definitely allow you to respec more easily, and you should be able to swap out sets of gear straight from your storage chest. The Paragon tree definitely needs to have the ability to completely reset all of your points, and it should be a much reduced cost from where it's at now. And whether we get the ability to swap our gear sets or not, we need significantly more storage space. I would love to see character-specific storages so I don't get my gear mixed in with others, as well as custom storage tabs. I find it slightly awkward that we can't target farm uniques at specific bosses. Having everything be purely based on RNG is a little bit painful. Speaking of RNG, getting the right aspects is very annoying sometimes. I would really like to see all aspects tied to a dungeon, and in addition I want to be able to farm that dungeon maybe 10 times in order to increase the strength of that aspect. In order to give that dopamine hit when you get a max aspect, I would suggest that the aspects only go up to 90% from dungeons of the total effectiveness, and increase the drop rate of that aspect in that dungeon. Overall, I'd say Diablo 4 is in a pretty good spot, but I feel like it's in a position kind of like Breath of the Wild where they came out. It's a good game, but obviously Tears of the Kingdom is significantly better. Once they add the additional polish, I think that Diablo 4 will be an extremely good game. I know this video is a little bit different format than I normally do, but if you enjoy it, let me know in the comments below so I know to make more like this. Have fun out there, and I'll see you soon.